Sup people, Casual Talk here. Is America, or is this economy in America, or just the whole economy in general, because I can't speak for every country, but I'm going to talk about America. Is America on the way to become another Great Depression society? Is America on the way to another Great Depression? Bible prophecy is speaking a lot. You know, not too long ago, the sales and the demand of Bibles has increased. See, most people wants to know the truth, wants to know the future, because at the end of the day, after you die, that's going to be it. Or if you're here right now and you're questioning why is all these problems happening, and you spiritually want to know more, go to the Bible. That's my truth. That's my faith. That's what I believe in. But overall, back to the topic. The signs that I see America, with how everything is going, that America could lead to the Great Depression is, one, everyone's circumstances is completely different. I said what I had to say about the adjusted cost of living not working, but it's just to be realistic. It's not going to work. You can't expect a Starbucks or a Walmart or a customer service rep at some job, a sales representative. You can't expect even a person who's in high school, who's working at McDonald's or Burger King, you can't expect them to make a living wage like a firefighter, like a police officer, like a plumber, to be comfortable. You can't expect to make the exact same amount of money as them. Because what was all that work for? That's just to be realistic. Ding dong, use the brain. If companies was to pay the same on average as the amount of money that firefighters, police officers, and all other blue collar jobs are making, electricians, most people will be out of business. Most people cannot afford to pay their workers over $30 an hour. That is insane. Unless they're doing very well, but then there's going to be competition. So most people's not going to have that job. What does that mean for the rest of the economy if that was to happen? A lot of people would be homeless. There's already over millions of people in America who are homeless. Homeless. Don't have a home. Don't have a roof over their head. They're homeless. People living in tents outside. People living in the woods. People living on the streets. It's not only because they're on drugs. It's not only because they're mentally insane or mentally ill. Something's wrong with them up here. It's because the cost of living. Some of these people are probably a paycheck away from becoming homeless. I'm in a position right now, I'm just going to admit that, where I have to work. I have no choice but to go to work. Everyone's circumstances is different. I have a family. That I got to worry about, that I have to take care of. And I don't have a career, and I'm living in South Carolina, Summerville, South Carolina. My rent went over $200. So it is harder for me now. than it was before. I didn't expect my rent to raise, but I had to be open-minded and realistic. The rent could raise anywhere, at any given moment or any given time. That's why when you are renting an apartment or a house, which I recommend to rent a house, you ask these type of questions. Is the rent going to be at a fixed rate? Is this going to be long term? Or if it's not long term, how long will it be until the rent increases? And if the rent increases, by how much of an estimate do you see it increasing? If your landlord cannot give you, or the property manager can't give you a clear answer, I would avoid them and look onto something else. Because it took about 2 years, almost 3 years, until my rent jumped up. One apartment that I first lived in when I moved down here in South Carolina from New York, the rent jumped up to $200 the next year after I moved into that apartment. Then the house that I'm renting now, it took about 2 years and a half, going on 3, almost 3 years, and the rent just went up. Life is hard for a lot of people. And I understand that there's a lot of people that has mental disabilities or have some physical disability that you cannot be able to work, that you have to depend on Social Security, you have to depend on the government, you have to depend on the government for help. I understand that things happen. I get it. I'm not a cold, heartless person who does not care or who does not have some type of empathy. I completely understand. Everyone has different circumstances. Everyone was brought up in different circumstances. It's harder when you have children. I get it. I have kids. I have kids of my own. I have 2 children. I'm not having no more. I got a vasectomy. I have kids. I'm not thinking about having any more, and I don't want to have more. Because that's going to only hold me back. That's going to only hold my children back. That's going to only be more selfish to them. Because in order for them to have a secure future, I have to make sure I have a secure future. Both me and my wife are in school. The only differences between me and my wife is that I'm working full-time. Plus, I'm also in school, aka college. And I'm actually going for a degree within the medical field, within the healthcare field, because I know for a fact there's a lot of jobs that are opening up for nurses. There's a need for doctors. There's a need for nursing, for LPNs. There's a demand for these type of positions. There's a demand for physical therapist assistants, for physical therapists, for occupational therapists, healthcare workers. You can make a lot of money. Go where you're appreciated. Go where the demand is. Go for a license, a certification, or a degree where you're guaranteed to make money quick. And this also depends on the adjusted cost of living within your state and where you live. You have to be realistic. A lot of people, unfortunately, are not. There's a lot of people in debt. I get it. I'm in debt. And I hate it. Being in debt is not the best feeling. Being debt-free is a nice feeling. You have more financial freedom to do what you want with your money. It's not my stop. You have more financial freedom of what you could do with your money. You could save more. You could spend more. Not spend more. I wouldn't recommend that. But you could actually save more. You could do more with your money. Made the wrong turn. But anyways, people gotta wake up. With how this economy is going, my wife brought up something interesting. She was like, She was listening to a video of a chick who looks like could be a millennial or Gen Z, and she had a apartment. And I was like, well, of course, most people that moves to New York City, who's living in Brooklyn, most of the time, you have no choice but to rent an apartment, because most cases, that's what's available. But that's also competitive, because a lot of people are looking into apartments. There's a lot of people that are going to look into apartments when moving to New York City. It's competitive. Apartments are competitive to get when it comes down to the city. The way this economy is going, if people continues to keep moving from one area, from one state to state, because one state or one area it gets too expensive for them that they can no longer afford. This is why people needs to get a career. And I understand, I can't speak for people who, under certain circumstances, they have no choice but to work at a dead-end job. Or if they can't do that, they have to pick up a second job or pick up a third job. And if that's the case, maybe you need to downsize, maybe you need to downgrade, maybe you need to also change your lifestyle. And if that's not also the case, then something's wrong somewhere. And if the economy continues to move in this direction, we could lead to a Great Depression. And I pray to God to not have my children experience that. And I, for sure, I don't want to experience that. That's why I'm busting my behind now to make sure, at least if I could catch up to the cost of living, I could get a home, be a homeowner. Because I already know, people are going to say stuff like homes are very expensive. It's a lot of maintenance. All these stuff. I understand that. I'm living in a home right now. I'm not the owner of the home, but I'm renting the home. I'm the owner. I'm renting the home that I live in from the owner. Okay? So I completely couldn't understand how much maintenance it could cost to take care of a home. I'm realistic about that. But at least if I have the career, the job, that I can make over $100,000 a year, I'll be straight. Especially depending on the cost of the home, where I live and where I go. And no disrespect, just because you hear so many bad things on the news about certain states, that does not mean the whole state entirely is the exact same way. There's something called counties. Each county in each state has different rules and laws. And they have different adjusted costs of living. The state average as a whole is different. But the county to county, depending on the state, it varies. That's why people need to be more open-minded and do their research. But the way this world is going, I could for sure see more people are going to be homeless. I already know and I understand how it feels to feel like you're living paycheck to paycheck, to not get much government assistance, to not get much help from the government. How the middle class and people who are making a lot of money, they feel punished. But you can't feel punished or feel entitled to get help from the government. You just got to make sure you do what you have to do. Okay, I need to save money. I need to work with what I got. I need to budget better. I shouldn't be eating out like that. I can't complain about that. I should cook more. I should save more. Spend less. There's people who are being a minimalist because they have no choice but to be a minimalist because they see the future. I respect people that are doing that. People are actually taking it seriously because in this life, after you die, all the materialistic possessions are not going to go with you. This economy can get worse. Just the other day I'm at Walmart. There was a Dunkin' Donuts drink that I always love to buy. And I don't know if it's like 32 ounce or 64 ounce. I believe it's 64 ounce, a little bit up there. And I was like, didn't this used to be $4? It raised up to 5 something, and now it's almost close to $6. A lot of things are going up. That doesn't mean you complain. Oh, the adjusted cost of living, we should all get a living wage. Oh, the rich is all greedy. You got to look at yourself first before you judge anybody else. There's no point in complaining. You got to do something about it. The government don't care. You got to care. Complaining not going to change nothing. So yes, the economy can get worse. That's why I believe people should lean on to God. Because at the end of the day, Bible prophecy is speaking. Bible prophecy is speaking, people. Just saying. I'm going to be realistic. But anyway, that's all I got to say. If you got anything to say, feel free to comment. Casual Talk here. Peace out. Let me know what you think.